In this video, I will be talking about the transformation of society. And firstly, I will list some events that had happened in the last decades. So one of the most important, perhaps, is the collapse of the Soviet Union, which was an end to the Cold War. And yeah, I mean, it had a lot of other things that got into the world, like the Berlin Wall, and the end of the Soviet Union, and the creation of Russia, all those countries. Secondly, and one of the most important in our history, in our how to say it, in our digital era, perhaps, is that the World Wide Web was released for public in 1993, and it marked the beginning of a new era that we are now all having. And one of the events that I am going to talk about finally, it's an event that made terrorism viral, something that everyone knew about it. It was the terrorist attack to the World Trade Center in New York. What made this terrorist attack different from others is that 3,000 people died, and it was a huge catastrophe for the United States people. Now I'm going to be describing some concepts. The first one would be globalization, which is a process by which business or other organizations develop international influence or start operating on an international scale. Next, I will be talking about terrorism. Terrorism is the unlawful use of force or violence against persons or property to intimidate or coerce a government or its citizens to further certain political or social objectives. Then we have unipolarity. And unipolarity in international politics is a distribution of power in which one state exercises most of the cultural, economic, and military influence. Also, unipolar systems possess only one great power and face no competition whatsoever. If a competitor emerges, the international system is no longer unipolar. And the last one will be the digital era. The digital era is characterized by technology which increases the speed and breadth of knowledge turnover within the economy and society. Evolutionary theories and explanation of the systems we live in states that sustainability relies on knowledge turnover. Why did the globalization emerge? So this is something that we may ask ourselves, and maybe if you ask someone what do they think about globalization, maybe they don't even know about it, but globalization is in mostly everything we have right now. For example, globalization is, or right now I'm speaking English, and for example here in Mexico we speak Spanish, but the globalization made it, and well, now the most talked language is English, perhaps, maybe Chinese, but that's how it works. And it emerges because of societies colliding. Like, for example, we are very close to the United States, so we were obviously going to have some contact with them that wasn't like ours, and lots of also cultural appropriation there was. So yeah, globalization can emerge in very different points of view if you really take a good look at everything. But yeah, the globalization emerges from one society to another, having commerce, etc. As suggested to the internet, the main cause of terrorism have been about poverty, although the 20th century and terrorist attacks may have something to do also with economic factors, obviously, but also some cultural factors or even ideologies that people have. How does the end of the Cold War relate with the unipolar world? Well, when the Soviet Union was still present, America or United States couldn't just go around doing things in its own way without getting resistance, and mainly from the Soviet Union. But when the Soviet Union collapsed, the newly emerged Russia was finally weak, and it had a huge debt. So they didn't have much power to intervene in other world matters. And America obviously had a lot of power, a lot of financial resources, and also what they did they could carry interest across the world. Then that's why after the fall of the Soviet Union, the balance of power shifted towards the US because it's now known as the most powerful country. And this led to a unipolar world. Russia, either way, Russia has pulled itself together after this, but still, US it's really important now. How was the digital era influenced today's society? Well, the digital era it was one huge step for humanity because right now it's all over the place. Well, right now doing homeworks, we have digital things. We have like the computer, the internet where I look stuff, my phone where I'm recording, all this stuff that maybe 30 years ago wasn't really there. And this was a really important thing to have in our daily lives, because if we didn't have cell phones in our hand every day, what would we do? How would we contact our parents or talk to our friends or even see a movie in the go, in the train, in the bus? So it has influenced a lot society, because right now we are very dependent from digital stuff. We are always checking our phones, we are checking our the newspaper in our phones. Everything is in technology now. And I think in the future it will keep this way and even more with time. And I think this is a very scary era because everything is on the web now. Everything is technology, and in technology there's a lot of lies and things we don't really know about. So that's why we have to be careful.